Hideaki Anno had a hand in this one. That will probably have some of you weeps salivating already. So let's talk about OVAs a bit, shall we? The OVA, or Original Video Animation, was a creation that started with the beginning of the home video market in the 1980s. As a result of the booming Japanese economy, production companies had cash on hand to produce 1 or 2 episode shows that could be spun off into TV series, like You're Under Arrest, or just to do passion projects or whatever to turn a quick buck and, keep their animators employed. Direct-to-video has negative connotations here in the States and still does, but over there at the time, it was a perfectly viable and in some cases preferable medium for storytelling. The economic bubble burst in the early 90s and production shifted to TV series again, but overall, OVAs remain a fixture of anime as a whole, having evolved into ONA, or Original Net Animations. In this climate, mecha designer Shinji Aramaki created MADOX-01, a story about a guy who finds a robot suit and tries not to die while wearing it. That's about the extent of the story, so let's get right into brass tacks, We kick things off with a heaping helping of machinery and all that good stuff that actually makes it seem like this machine could be viable. Given the advances we've made in this field, it actually doesn't seem all that far off, considering exoskeleton technology is slowly becoming less sci-fi and more sci-fact. But at that time, it was the kind of RoboCop, Starship Troopers-y design that DARPA can only really soil their pants over. This design would be of interest to the federal bean counters for all of 2 seconds until they saw the price tag, that's for sure. Our proper story opens in the desert, where American tanks are wrecking a town. Hey, ease off the trigger, fellas. Desert Storm isn't for another 3 years. They're squaring up against the titular mech suit, the MADOX, and proceed to get their asses beat. This thing shrugs off 50 cal rounds like they were Nerf darts. What the hell is this thing made of? The MADOX shoots back with a suspiciously Star Wars-y sound effect, blowing up one of the tanks. Caring little for things like minimum safe distance, the tanks, now revealed to be in a simulation, put a sad hash mark into their lost category. So much for that American machismo, you just got whomped on by a girl with a sharper chin than Rila Fukushima. There's a truck accident on the Tokyo freeway that's transporting one of the MADOX units, and it ends up flying into, miraculously, another truck. A mechanic named Koji gets his mitts on it, and now we get treated to watching US Army brass browbeating a Japanese CEO. I should say that this OVA moves real fucking quick, because I think some of this narration will actually be longer than the scenes they're describing. Lieutenant Kilgore, the tank commander from the simulation, takes control of the operation.
I'm afraid he's a man more suited to a different age.
I don't know, man. Desert Storm, only a couple years out. Back at home, Koji pops the lock on the slave trooper MADOX and opens it up like a goddamn idiot. So congrats, you have a walking war crime in your living room. Granted, he reacts exactly like I would, but are you really trying to get into the damn thing? I mean, really? Man, it's a good thing that there's got to be some sort of access code or anything required to use it, or he might accidentally, oh dear. Yep, it just boots right up, didn't it? Oh boy. So it's worth noting that they do say something about it being in scramble mode. Now that's military jargon for oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, deploy now. It's probably the only reason that he can even turn the damn thing on, but now he's thundering through Shinjuku like a mech suit with no brakes. Incidentally, it's not something you can feed yourself easily in, which seems like a real big design oversight to me, especially if you're wanting to send it out for extended operation time. Good luck with on-site procurement with those pincers, too. This is something that always bugs me about mech suits of this small scale. What kind of batteries does it have? What is powering it? Especially considering that this is near-future tech from 1987, how is this thing even moving? Is it a miniature nuclear reactor? Because this guy should be a walking tumor if that's the case. At least in Gundam they have a big enough chassis to fit a reactor and a human pilot, and other mechs like Patlabors have batteries. I'm sure that the designers of the MADOX put something in the manual that says, discontinue use if third arm begins to grow, but who's to say? Kochi's girlfriend is moving to England, and he wants to make sure he sees her one last time. Unfortunately, because she's moving, that means that they quote-unquote need to talk.
What are we gonna do for 3 years?
Well, you're sure not fucking, that's for sure. This might seem odd to you young kids, but back in the day when somebody actually moved away from your city, that relationship was done. There was no Facebook, there was no MySpace, sexting hadn't been invented yet, and not even a flip phone was available for you to download grainy JPEGs. I was there, man. It was bad. Lieutenant Kilgore is about to drive a tank through Shinjuku, but Kusamoto, the pilot of the original Maddox, and her giant shoulder pads disagree. Oh, right, my bad. It's a prototype hover tank, not just a regular old-fashioned tank that's about to slam through Shinjuku like a rocket-powered wrecking ball. This is where the dub and sub differ from each other. Being that Kilgore is kind of a fucking jerk-off, he says this in the dub.
And you're an army lab rat who's about to have her favorite toy broken.
But in the sub, he's much more staid and subdued. You know, a little professionalism does go a long way, even when pointing a cannon at somebody. Kusamoto gets the MADOX-01 ready for action, and they show off pretty pictures to the military otaku who bought this back in the day. And then we find out that the MADOX units run off of diesel. Well, I guess if it's good enough for the Karada. Seriously though, I'm sure it just emptied its entire tank, leaving the scene. And lo, the mighty war machine obeys traffic laws, and is knocked off course by its one weakness, a four-door sedan.
This Maddox must be really important.
Understatement of the year, genius. So in come the jackboots to come and take care of business. Hey, that guy is operating his chopper below the minimum altitude. He should have his goddamn wings pulled. And once again, the Maddox shrugs off 50 cal rounds like I shrug off haters. The hell is this thing made of? Vibranium? He proceeds then to kill 2 U.S. airmen, causing an international incident and a huge war crime tribunal that will scar international relations for decades to come. I'm just kidding, of course, but the machine has an auto-fire protocol in it, and there's no parachuting out of that explosion. Taking a minute to cool off in the subway, he still thinks that he can meet up with his girlfriend, the poor deluded idiot. The MADOX-00 shows up to change his mind, and the 2 diesel-powered robots square off. Koji ends up running like a candy ass and gets knocked around for his trouble. He does shoot out the light and try to make a go of it, and I will say that the animation is exceptionally well done, though a little dated by modern standards. This whole fight really could have been avoided if he just said, "Hey, where's the ejector seat on this thing?" You know, for a guy who just fell into the machine, he's a pretty damn good pilot. Not good enough to avoid getting his machine locked up on him, but, you know, pretty good. Kusamoto was about to pop his head like a grape, but she relents because he's clearly just a moron. She's willing to take the blame for the situation, even though that's complete bullshit. It's completely Koji's fault for turning the damn thing on in the first place and putting his big dumb head in the robot. But, you know, she's gonna take the fall for it, derp-a-derp. While Koji is in custody, Kilgore has set up a trap and ends up blowing the legs off of the MADOX-00.
What the hell is going on?
With Kusamoto out of action, it's down to Koji to beat up Kilgore with a re-equipped MADOX. He intends to add a third to his kill count here, but he's really outclassed. While making a break for it, he manages to put eyes on Shiori, but tanks are really good at shooting things from long distances with high explosive ammo, so, you know. If this OVA proves anything, it's that mecha are tragically impractical. Still, he managed to trick Kilgore into following him onto a high-elevation bridge, which he then blows apart. Good thing everything in this movie has a goddamn grappling hook, or they'd be out of luck. Koji pulls the escape hatch and sends Kilgore tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. And lucky for us, we didn't get to see him snap apart like an overstretched G.I. Joe when he impacts. Koji gets to have his talk with Shiori, and that's a wrap. Oh boy, that was a really fast set of 40 minutes. Sometimes I rag on anime, especially OVAs, for wasting my time, but this one definitely keeps chugging along, even if it didn't really have a solid direction. The action is pretty good across the board for something that was clearly designed with set pieces in mind, but I gotta say, the character designs can go take a leap. They look like Lego characters gone wrong as far as I'm concerned. Shinji Aramaki is pretty good with the old exosuit sort of thing, so it's no surprise that he managed to get this one looking pretty good, even if it's sort of plain Jane as far as mech designs go. It looks very similar to the power suits from Starship Troopers, which came out the next year, though Kazutaka Miyatake was the designer there, not Aramaki. Currently out of print, it's not anything that I'd tell you to go beating down doors for, but I would definitely throw $15, maybe even $20 at it if the condition was good. This is one of the first Animego releases, so the dub is nothing to write home about, but then we're spoiled by modern dubbing being listenable at worst these days, so take that how you will. It's a nice little weird boy to take the edge off the wider part of an hour. At 40 minutes and with a pretty breakneck pace for the kind of production it was, it's nice and digestible. Unfortunately, if I keep talking for any longer about it, I'm going to have to start repeating footage because the damn thing is so short. Worth your time, but not too much of your money. So, with that in mind, I'm going to go drool at Karatas.